I installed a nanny cam to protect my stepdaughter. Then I saw what her mother was really doing when I left for work. The camera arrived, and I set it up immediately in the living room bookshelf, disguised as a clock, angling it to capture the main area where my stepdaughter Iris spent most of her time after school. Lately, she'd been coming to breakfast with bruises she couldn't explain. My wife Simone said Iris was clumsy, always running into things, but something in my gut said otherwise. I'd been married to Simone for 8 months, and in that time, I'd watched Iris become quieter, more withdrawn, flinching when her mother moved too quickly. I connected the camera to my phone during lunch. I felt guilty setting it up without telling Simone, but the bruises on Iris's arms last week had been shaped like fingers. And when I'd asked her about them, she'd looked at her mother with pure fear before mumbling something about falling off the monkey bars. The school had no record of any playground incident. That evening, I kissed them both goodbye at 6:30 like always. Simone was in her robe, coffee in hand, looking perfectly composed. Iris sat at the kitchen table eating cereal, her shoulders hunched forward. I ruffled her hair and told her to have a good day. She gave me a tiny smile that didn't reach her eyes. I walked out with my phone heavy in my pocket, already dreading what I might see. The morning passed slowly. I supervised the framing crew, reviewed material orders, but my mind kept drifting to that camera, to Iris's frightened eyes. Around 10:30, I pulled out my phone and opened the app. The live feed showed an empty living room. I scrolled back to 7:15 and pressed play. Simone walked into frame carrying her coffee. She set it down and called out for Iris. My stepdaughter appeared from the hallway, already dressed in her school uniform, backpack on. Simone told her to sit down. They needed to talk before school. Iris moved slowly, reluctantly, sitting on the edge of the couch. Simone's voice came through clearly. "Did you tell David about falling yesterday?" Iris nodded, eyes on the floor. "And what did he say?" Iris's small voice responded that I'd asked if she was okay. Simone smiled, but it was wrong, predatory. "Good girl. Remember, accidents happen all the time. Little girls fall, and little girls who tell different stories make everyone very sad." I watched, frozen, as Simone stood and walked behind the couch. She placed both hands on Iris's shoulders, and I could see Iris go rigid. Simone's voice continued, almost sing-song. "Your daddy would be so disappointed if he thought you were making up stories about me. He's not here anymore. It's just us now. And David loves me. So if you told him something that made him not love me anymore, where would that leave you?" Iris's voice was barely audible. "Nowhere." Simone's hands tightened on her shoulders, and I saw my stepdaughter wince. "That's right, nowhere. No mommy, no David, no home. They'd put you with strangers. Is that what you want?" Iris shook her head frantically. Simone released her and patted her head. "Then we understand each other. Now get your lunch. We leave in 10 minutes. I sat in my truck, replaying the footage 3 times, bile rising in my throat. The bruises weren't from clumsiness. They were from Simone. She'd been coaching Iris to lie, threatening her with abandonment, using me as leverage. This wasn't a one-time loss of temper. This was systematic abuse, hidden behind a perfect mother facade. My phone rang. Simone's name appeared. I forced myself to sound normal. She asked how my day was, chatted about grocery shopping, mentioned Iris had been picked up for school. I said everything was fine, that I'd be home around 6. We said our I love yous and hung up. I sat staring at my phone, wondering how I'd ever believed her. I needed evidence beyond this one video. I needed a pattern documented. I called my sister Lauren, a social worker for the county. She answered on the 3rd ring, and I could hear concern in her voice when I said I needed to talk about something serious. I drove to a quiet spot and told her everything. Lauren's voice went from concerned to furious. She told me to save all footage, not to confront Simone yet, and to document everything. She explained that without proper evidence, Simone could flip the script, claim I was the abuser. Family courts often sided with biological parents unless there was undeniable proof. She gave me the number for a family law attorney named Gerald Thornton, who specialized in child welfare cases. I spent lunch on the phone with Thornton. He listened, asked pointed questions about the bruises, the timeline, Iris's behavior changes. He said the camera footage was valuable but might face admissibility challenges. However, the bruises, the fear, the documented pattern built a compelling case. He advised me to keep recording, to take photos of any new injuries, to document everything. He said if I had evidence of immediate danger, I could call Child Protective Services, but to be prepared for an investigation that would tear my household apart. I went back to work and tried to focus, but every few hours, I checked the camera. At 2:45, I watched Iris come home from school. She dropped her backpack and headed toward the kitchen. Simone appeared and asked how school was. Iris said it was fine. Simone asked if she'd talked to anyone about her bruises. Iris shook her head. Simone smiled and said that was good, that families kept things private. Then Simone did something that made my blood run cold. She told Iris to take off her school sweater. My stepdaughter hesitated, and Simone's voice sharpened. "Now, Iris." The little girl pulled off her sweater, revealing her thin arms. That's when things got a lot worse. Full story is linked below or on my channel.